What's up, everyone? This is Lanesharkin with Travis, and today we're here with my best friend Daniel Cook.
Hello.
Welcome, sir. So first off, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So we wanted to do this just so everybody could sort of get a little bit of backstory from someone who has seen Lane Shark from almost day one. We met and became friends at the end of March of 2017. We're here at the beginning of March 2024. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of get you in here and let you share your thoughts and experiences about Lane Shark and all that stuff along the way. So,
Well, I feel like for the past 7 years, it's been a large part of my life. I guess the first 3.5 years of Lane Shark, it was a larger part just because it was in my backyard.
yep.
For so I saw it daily. Um, and then I guess about 21 or so is when Landon came on.
Yeah, he's been here for 3 years now.
3 years, and Landon, it's my son, my oldest son. So he's been a part of it. It's neat to see it from the very first. I don't want to use the term archaic, but how involved it is now, or evolved the Lane Shark is now. The first one was pretty
Yeah,
bare bones.
very.
So it's neat to see kind of the evolution of what's happened over just 7 years. Isn't really that long.
Yeah, it feels like an eternity, but it also feels like it just started yesterday.
I agree. Walking up into the podcast studio, seeing a refrigerator that used to be out in the shop.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, that kind of brings back a flood of memories just from the late nights and stuff that we did out there in the shop.
Oh, yeah. Started off in Dad's garage and then moved into the metal shop that's across the parking lot for just a brief moment. And then I kept wanting to find a place, and you just basically volunteered your shop
Yeah.
that you weren't using. And so I kind of took over your house and almost didn't sleep there, but almost moved in with you.
Well, we had let's see, laundry facilities. We had a office in the house.
Yep.
We had
Storage in the.
storage in the boneyard and outside the shop. We had the paint booth is
Yeah.
what I originally had the building for, um, and then turned it into a all encompassing Lane Shark shop.
Yeah. So
From
it was a paint booth. And so you used to obviously painted cars out there. So that's.
Yeah, we dabbled a little bit in some all overs and spot work. Had a couple buddies of mine that did paint and body, and they were always looking for a spot. It was originally built for. I painted a bunch of furniture for a company here in town that they had a design change kind of midstream, and they went from a metallic silver to a metallic bronze, and it was more cost effective for them to have us paint the old silver stuff to match the new bronze.
Right.
So that's what we built it for, and then said, well, look, we can get back in and do a little automotive work too, and we did that for a while, and
So I had buddies and stuff come over and paint and work
yeah,
on cars.
buddies, and there, goodness, there's no telling how many cars we painted in there, but that season of the shop kind of fizzled out, and then it sat as kind of stagnant storage for a little while until we found a new reason to knock the dust off of it. And
That's I've noticed that over the years, like a lot of your stuff will change based on who needs your help. I've always admired that about you.
I would agree. I enjoy helping, or I enjoy being a part of something, especially something that um, has turned into what this is. And I don't know that even you knew that it was going to be
I
as large as
I tell
it's.
everybody all the time, like I never thought it would become a business, much less turn into what it's become.
Sure. And I think as maybe a realist a little bit, I was like, this will be they'll sell 200 or 300 of these, and
Yeah.
that'll buy some time to figure out what Travis wants to do now that he's back in town.
Yeah. I definitely, I mean, I always thought I'd be a builder my whole life.
Sure.
I really enjoy creating those things, like creating houses. Like it's especially cool whenever I was doing custom homes, which I only did that for a brief moment, but just going in and walking a house with a customer and like coming up with new ideas and being able to change that and make it come like I love taking an idea to completion and seeing the finished product and actually showing people like that came from my mind. Like
Absolutely.
that's always a really cool thing.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people have that desire to be able to do that, but not a lot of people can execute on that.
Yeah. That's the execution part I have a hard time with, but it's if you can get the right people around,
Sure.
that's they help bring the execution there because if it was always left up to me to execute, I would probably be worthless at this point.
Well, we'd have a bunch of 75% complete projects floating around.
Very yes, I have a lot of those already.
You do. You do. That's very true.
Yeah. So yeah. So speaking of houses, like that's a little bit of what you're trying to do now.
It is. Yeah. I've made a change and decided that I'm going to be in charge of kind of where I go from here out. Um, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet, but we're giving
Hold,
it a shot.
leaving your fate up to other people is never a good idea, in my opinion.
Am leaning more towards agreeing with that now. There was a time where I wanted somebody else to hold the risk, uh, but with that they also got to hold the reward. And um, I decided through my last two, I'm not even going to say careers, but ventures I did, where I left my fate up to somebody else. And although they may have had the best of intentions at first, it didn't work out for
Right.
me at the end. And now that wife, two kids, home, just stuff, it's time that I take back that control.
Hmm.
And if I sink, then it's all on me. But
Right.
if we soar, that's all on me as well.
Right. And the great thing, like with your, so with that, like if something happens, you can adjust your own sails and go a different direction and make it work versus like when you were at the last place, like you filled the shop with too much work and they couldn't get the work done, so they just got rid of the position. Like that's just the dumbest thought process I've ever seen. Whereas like if you'd have been in charge, you could have adjusted things and made it prosper versus
Sure.
like having pencil pushers up top. Like, well, we can't do that, so let's just get rid of that person. And you're just a number to those people.
That's what I'm getting away from, and that really was my first venture into the quote unquote corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been involved with family business for since '98, since right out of high school, and I assumed that corporate world was going to work the same as what I'd been involved in
Mm-hmm.
forever, and it was eye opening. Becoming just what you said, a number,
Yeah.
and when your number's up, your number gets called. It's just business at that point, and they say, well, this is where we're taking our business, and you don't fit right now, so good luck to you.
Yeah. I've noticed anytime somebody says it's just business, it never works out to the person that it's being told to.
Never, never, never.
Yeah. So, well, I'm happy for you for pursuing this. I know I've been trying to push you in this direction for
7,
years
yeah,
now.
it's and I learn slower than others, so we're moving on.
Yeah.
And right now, the forecast in the future looks pretty bright. Um, Fortunate enough to have quite a few things on the books right now, and I think it's going to be the right move, for not only me, but my family, and then I say my social life, but the amount of time that I can devote to doing things that I enjoy, that we enjoy.
Right. So, in all of that, what was your biggest hang up or hold up whatever I'm trying to say. What was the biggest thing that held you back from actually jumping in head first? Like the
The
security of like
the
knowing that you're gonna make a paycheck, or
yeah, the fear of the unknown. If I work for somebody, well, up until this last thing, I've got a set amount that they're going to pay me to do my job. If I do my job better, they give me a higher amount, but it's never going to be below this amount.
mm-hmm.
So just knowing that I had that safety net or that training wheel or whatever it was, was kind of what kept me there.
Right.
Um, but now that hey, at any point the safety net and training wheels can come off, whether you're ready for them or not. Um, I I see that it's time that okay, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need the net. I don't need the training wheels. Not to say I won't fall, but I think now that if I do fall, I can learn how to land and get back on,
Right.
as opposed to just splatting on the concrete.
So basically, when you didn't really have any other, when the choice was taken away from you, the choice was easy.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that makes sense. Yeah, I know. The first time I ever quit my job, well, I guess the only time I quit my job, whenever I quit my job working for someone to go out on my own, it was like a week before that when I was trying to come up, like make the decision, was the
Right,
first time I'd ever had a panic attack.
and those are real, and
Yeah.
those are no fun. For anybody that's never had one, congratulations.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
It's the mind is a powerful thing, and it can
Yeah.
you can certainly think the world's ending.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like I basically, I was sitting in the parking lot of like Publix one day, and just I don't even remember what was going on, but I know it was like a week or two before I actually decided to quit, and I had that panic attack, and then finally I was like, you know what, I just got to make a decision.
Sure.
And then after I made that decision, it was like, why didn't I do this sooner? So it's definitely a scary thing to begin with, but once you actually jump, it feels like you should have done it a long time ago.
I and I'm living that right now.
Hmm.
Um, I wouldn't trade the amount of time that my dad and I got to work together. Just like you and William. Um, I wouldn't trade those times, to work with him.
Yeah.
But it is kind of freeing now that I'm calling the shots. That
Right.
if somebody calls me for a project that either I don't necessarily want to do, or I don't feel comfortable doing, I have the ability to say no. Um, let me help you find somebody else, or
Hmm.
I'm not the guy for that.
Right.
Whereas when you're working for somebody, it's if you didn't want to do it, you just sucked it up and went and did
Right.
it anyways.
Yeah, and if you get something that's interesting to you and you don't necessarily know how to do it, you can find the right people to
Sure.
to, to bring in, and you can learn, and so then next time you can do it.
Yeah, and that just builds the resume or the portfolio, whatever it is, to say, hey, yeah, I've done this a time or two, and here's a picture. Here's what I've done before. Here's how I think it'll work here.
Right.
Let's move forward.
Yeah, I know whenever you were building that stage for the church and when you finally finished it and I saw it, I was like, I think I'm gonna be able to push him this time.
And that was being able to do that and being able to get paid for my work
Hmm.
and to see something week in and week out. That that feeling of accomplishment and pride was, hey, if I did this for this organization, there's another organization that's going to need something,
Hmm.
or there's another person or something. And I went in without plans. I just had a footprint. Hey, I need this to fit in 18 feet by 11 feet, and I've got to have the middle 6 feet
Right.
removable for scissor lifts and stuff. And we just kind of designed on the fly, and it turned out amazing. It makes its debut every week.
Yeah, it's awesome. You
Yep,
get to see it every week at
yep.
church. Yeah. Yeah, and you've done. You've done a lot more of the work up there now, haven't you?
I've done, yeah, quite a bit. There's, the church is growing. Um, so with that, we've had to add on some different classrooms for the different school ages. Um, we always had them, but now instead of having the first through the fifth graders in one large room, it got too crowded. So now we've divided another room, and we've put the first and second graders in a room, and the third, fourth, and fifth into a room. So I did that within building the sound booth. Um, we had to block an entrance, and in order to meet fire code, we had to add two more double
Mhm.
entrances. So they were having a hard time finding a contractor to come in and do that. And I said, well, it's not that big of a deal. So we were able to take care of that, and that really just started the snowball rolling. Of, well, hey, I was able to get in here and do this, save the church quite a bit of money. Do a good job. From that, I've had people say, "Hey, can you do this?" Absolutely. There's been several people that go to the church that I've been on projects for them,
Yeah,
since then.
it's pretty awesome though too that your church that obviously means so much to you kind of helped you get this ball
Absolutely.
rolling, so it's like a lot more meaningful.
Absolutely it
Yeah,
is.
and we got to do some cutting up there still. I keep forgetting about that, but as we're having this conversation, I remember again we need to get up there and cut the. Don't we have a fence line that
Oh
we
yeah,
need to cut?
we'll wait for a good sunny day, and when you need to get some new video footage.
Yeah, yeah, we gotta have to get we got yeah, I got one down there I need to get powder coated, and once we get that one, we'll have to start shooting some more video of the hammerhead in action.
I didn't know if we
Yeah,
were
we've been
saying the
talking
word.
about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been talking about it. I've been talking about because Ken, I don't know if Ken has released the video, but we
Wednesday.
is it Wednesday? Okay, so the one we went up, we went to Atlanta a couple weeks ago and
Okay.
set him up. Such a cool dude, man. I could have spent. We sat down for lunch, like they fed us and everything while
Sure.
we were up there, and we sat down and just started talking because he's huge into guns. Like he's a firearms instructor. They do training. They go all
Right.
around the world, and he was telling us some stories and
Is this one Landon went on?
yeah,
Yeah.
man, like I finally had to just get up and like start moving around because I knew if I sat there, we would just talk about it all day long and wouldn't get anything done.
Right.
But he's a fun like all of his people that work with him, a lot of fun. Like I can't wait to see their videos whenever they start releasing them. But yeah, that was a good trip. But yeah, we're talking about the Hammerhead. We just slowly getting the shop ready so we can start manufacturing it.
And past it on the way in, it seems to be
Yep.
coming right along.
Yeah, we've been hanging the bridge crane today. Landon's putting the fixtures together so Dad can start welding those tomorrow. Um, Joe's in there pulling wire. So hopefully by the end of the week we'll get our electrical inspection
Nice.
and then get the robot fired up. So they got to come in and set everything up, like fine tune it, and then we can start. I got 10 units worth of material there so we can do our first like just run to get the robot programmed. Once that's all dialed in, then I'll order a big number of them
Sure.
and start producing them. So, but yeah, we got Aaron came out yesterday, put some crushed asphalt out there so we can actually not be in a muddy mess anymore.
Isn't that
Uh,
always? That's always nice.
yeah, so we're getting it there. It's just taking a lot longer than I would like. I know there's a lot of people out there that are listening to this like, God damn it, I don't want the hammerhead
Well,
out, but
well, they'll once you see it, because I've seen it. It's incredible. It's especially if you have a cab tractor and you never have to get out in the elements.
mm-hmm.
There, it's going to make a lot of people lazy.
Make a lot of people happy too.
Yeah, happy. Yeah.
A lot of currently lazy people
Well,
will
there,
be happy.
I'd, I've already heard from several different people. Nope, I'm getting the hammerhead. That way, when it's work days at the camp, I don't have to get out and
Mm-hmm.
drag or do anything. It's my tractor, my hammerhead.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm excited about it. And we've actually, from our last podcast with Benji. Why did I
Benji,
say Benny? With Benji, we were talking about it. Actually, I just started thinking about it the day before he got here, but we talked about doing a smaller, not really a smaller, but a lighter version with a little less movement for these smaller tractors. So I've got the deck and the back plate cut for that. So that'll be my next. I was thinking that the skid steer hammerhead would be the next one, but this little one, it'll be easier to get going. So I've got it started. So we're going to try to get something for the smaller tractors. There's so many people with like the BX tractor, the LX, and the 2 Series. So we're gonna try to get that next. But it just won't stick out as far,
Sure.
and won't go up as high. So you won't have so much weight
Unsprung
offset. Yeah, because that's what I'm worried about. Is somebody like I'm terrified that somebody's gonna put the LS3 on a too small tractor and hurt themselves. But
I've got a question for you, just because I've seen just about every version of the Lane Shark since the very first one.
mm-hmm.
Have you ever gotten to a point that you said, "That's it. There's no more changes that I can make to this one"?
I'll never be to that point. I mean, maybe with the LS4, there's a couple of things I want to dial in with it. But I just like we talked about in the last podcast, like I'm never satisfied with anything. Like you clearly know that about me. I mean, there's always improvement. That's what's like, because with the hammerhead, man, I've been working on it for years.
Right.
And every time we build a new prototype, I find something else that could be fine tuned. And at this point, believe that I've fine tuned the hell out of it. The last one, I got Mason.
Sure.
And he was able to bend the articulating head, and I never even thought about that, but he had it in an offset position. I think he caught a limb when he was going up, and it was able to bend that head. And so I came back and I reinforced that, boxed it in a little bit better, and we changed something else. I think I changed on it because of that one. But yeah, I mean, no, I'll never have it dialed in perfect, but I'll keep trying.
Well, I think that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
But it is neat because have you had a count on how many iterations of?
Of the hammerhead or
No, just of the LS4.
Oh man, well, the first one that we did, we built with, now we have the holes in the back plate where we lock it in.
Correct.
So the first one, it basically had 2 pieces of square tube. Whenever it rolled over, you would drop another piece in there and that would just hold it together. So did one with, I think, 3 holes in the back plate. I mean, I would say there's probably been 10 or 12 different iterations of the LS2 and then switching over to the LS4. And we've made a couple of adjustments since the LS4 started. So we do blocks of like 250 or 500. So
Right.
after the first 500, we've made a couple of changes. And just like changing pin sizes and little things
Sure.
like that, trying to dial it in. And eventually, I've got the I don't even know if I want to talk about it, but the swing arm. I'm trying to make the swing arm where it has essentially a spring-loaded hinge on it, to where if somebody does hit something, like that piece will bend instead of stretching the back plate or bending the deck. Like because I can make it stronger where it doesn't bend, but then something on the tractor is going to bend.
Yeah.
And
There's got to be a weak link somewhere.
Right. So I've got the hinge designed, but that'll be probably a year before I even get it close to being in production, because I got so much testing to do. But it's essentially a one-way hinge with a giant torsion spring on the front.
Right.
So if it's offset and you hit something, it can stretch back and then come back to the straight. But that'll be a little while. And I think that would probably be close to as perfect as I can think of right now.
Well, then they'll
they'll come up with something else.
I was gonna say they'll develop a new breed of person that can tear it up.
I know. I tell you, it blows my mind some days whenever I see pictures of the damage. And generally when something breaks, I can look at it and say, okay, this is exactly what happened.
Right.
Every now and then I'll get one and like I'll just be blown away. Like I don't know how it's possible. Like my tractor is it's made for the LS4 is what goes on my tractor.
Right.
I run the LS3 on it a lot just because I like to beat the crap out of the LS3 because it's a too big tractor for that unit. So I'm trying to tear it up. And we went and cut Ross's. Ross has some property up the road, and we went and cut his entrance road. and we did a bunch of filming, like a before and after and all that, and then everybody left, and it was just me. I'm trying to finish it up and clean it myself, and I had it offset to the side, and I was cutting, wasn't paying attention. I literally ran into a tree with the front right corner of the Laneshark, so all the
The
way up.
farthest.
I hit a tree so hard that the ass end of my tractor spun around, and it didn't hurt anything on the Laneshark. So and I'm looking at that, I'm like, so how in the world, like, what are people doing whenever they do bend it? Like, it blows my mind.
Well,
I just don't get it sometimes, because to me, like, if it's enough to swing the ass of my tractor around, like, you would think that nobody could tear it up, but
well, yeah, especially 60 horse
yeah.
water-filled tires.
Yeah, I have water, and I have rear weights on my
Yeah,
wheels. So, but hey, they keep breaking them, we'll fix them and try to improve it so it doesn't break again. But yeah, that's where all of our improvements come from, is from customers figuring out a way to tear something up, and we try to work around that and fix
sure.
it, make it stronger. The rubber skirt, that I wanted to do that for a while and just never was able to get it implemented. That's one thing about it's one of my biggest headaches, frustrations is probably a better word, like, of not having my own manufacturing in-house, is that it's hard for me to make those changes quick enough.
Or midstream.
Yeah, definitely can't make any hardly midstream, because I'd end up spending more money, paying them more money than what I make in it, and it just, you can't change stuff quick enough. So hopefully that'll improve over time. But I think we make a good product that
Oh,
people love.
100%. The first units when we were building, you were building 10 or 20 at a time.
Hmm.
How many times did we touch those units?
Oh my God. So, all right. So I would come up here to Mr. Keller's. He would cut everything and break it for me. A lot of times he would cut it. I would clean up all the edges, because on a plasma cutter he leaves all that slag on it. So
Sure.
I would clean it up for him. They would break it, and then I would load it on the trailer, take it to your house. We would unload the trailer, stack them up, then set them up on a table individually.
By
I
hand.
would, I would, yeah, I would tack them all together. Usually, Chase or Jimmy
Mm-hmm.
would come in and help weld at night, and so we'd have to lift them off the table. So take them off the table, set them on the ground. Uh, Back plate, do the same thing with that. Then we'd have to load them all. I'd put them together, so pre-assemble them.
Yeah, hinges and backplate and everything.
Yep, I had to take them to
Rubens.
Ruben's house. A lot of times I think they would unload them, and
It
then
depended on how many we were taking, because we were a part of that a couple times.
yeah,
Back,
so
backing into their paint booth
yep.
and hanging them up on.
So take them off the trailer, hang them up in the paint booth. They would spray them, take them off the paint booth, load them back on the trailer, bring them back to your house, unload them off the trailer, and then at that point we would take and set them up on the backs, and I would assemble everything and sticker them, and then put them down, put them on the trailer, and deliver them. So just
Oh,
ridiculous amount of touches. And then when Muskogee got involved, Kyler and I would go up there every Friday. We'd pick up 10 units. So basically, I didn't have to touch them until they were powder coated. We'd load them on the trailer, bring them to your house, unload them, stack them in the garage, assemble them and sticker them, and then load them back on the trailer. And then I would
for
spend the rest of
delivery.
so Sunday I would usually be off, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I would do deliveries. Thursday I would do logistics. Friday start all over. Yeah, and now, like, once they started doing the assembly, like, we don't have to touch them.
And the shipping.
And yeah, and the shipping. Yeah, because there for the longest time we were bringing them to your dad's shop. So if we couldn't deliver them, we would bring them to your dad's shop, put them on a pallet, strap them down, ship them out. Oh man,
There were
so many.
so many times those units were touched at the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah, but man, it's just funny to look back on that. Like, that time, I wouldn't trade it for the world, because
No.
it's just like we were so busy just building something that we had no idea what we were building, as far as like company wide. Like, I knew what I was building, but like the overall like company. I had no idea that it would turn into something like this. Like I never thought that I would be able to do this. So
Well,
it's wild.
and I think that, speaking for you a little bit, is we got to hurry up and build these because we don't know when this is going to stop.
Yeah,
When when are we going to hit, or when are you? I say we like I
you
have
can
anything
say
to do with
we.
it. When are you going to hit market saturation?
Yeah,
When when is everybody in a 200-mile radius going to be like, we've got plenty, we don't need them?
yeah.
And then
The radius keeps
the
growing and
yeah,
growing.
it keeps growing and growing.
Yeah, I mean we're yeah, we got I don't know, like I think 10 dealers in Canada, um, which is crazy to me. Like just going. I mean that's it's technically not internet. I mean it's international, but it doesn't seem like it. But it's really
Sure.
cool. And we're talking to some people, a European distributor. Um, so hopefully that turns into something. Because if that does, then we'll be super busy.
Well, I think we should probably take a trip if that comes to fruition.
Yeah, because we're gonna be. Is it Sweden or
That's one of them. Hungary, Turkey.
yeah? Sweden's the one. Like I want to go to Sweden. We got to take a business trip up there.
Business trip.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully we'll get all that stuff ironed out. Like we we had to wire them some money to setting up the account and all that, and our bank screwed something up, so we had to handle that, which I did that today. So hopefully in the next few days we'll get all that stuff ironed out and get some orders. But that'll be wild if that happens.
Uh, well, and that just opens that gateway to kind of an untouched market.
Hmm.
Um, Surely there's rednecks and hunters and
There's got to be.
people like you and I over there that said, you know what, we need one of those.
Yeah. There's well, I mean, they claim that they've got a bunch of people that are wanting them. So we'll see. Until I get a purchase order, I don't really think it's real. Like I'm not getting too excited about it. So when I see that purchase order, I'll be excited.
Well,
But I really want. We've had a lot of people. I'm hoping that this works out, and then uh, we can get into Australia because actually had individuals from Australia reach out to us, but I don't know how to do all the logistics and everything to get over there yet. So that would, if I had the time, I would love to go to Australia and meet with the dealers. I just at this point in my life, I don't have the time to do it, and I'd have a hard time sending somebody else over there.
sure. Yeah, especially for not only is it a big part of the business in the future, what this could be, but it's Australia.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, I would definitely want to go to
yeah.
Australia one day. But yeah, Sweden and Australia, those would be great. My one of my bucket list places is Iceland. That has nothing to do with Lane Shark, but I definitely hope to go to Iceland one
Well,
day.
if you get a chance to go to Europe for with Lane Shark,
Yeah,
then
just make a little hop over to
yeah, you're that
Iceland.
much closer to Iceland. You might as well just
Maybe.
a side quest.
When did we start using side quests so much? Like I love that that's come into our vocabulary because every time I hear it, it just makes me laugh.
It is, and how I use that is beyond me. But I think just in the social media that
Yeah.
stuff, it's kind of commonplace now.
Yeah, it's like a new saying. Like I can't get down with the new words that the new terminology. Like one of my buddies, we have a group message from my buddies in Greenville, and one of them, I can't say what they sent, but anyway, that was using one of the new slang words, and I'm just like, I'm an old fart. Like I'm not using this slang, and one of them sent me like the definition of it, and I was like, I know what it means. I'm
Yeah,
just not gonna
you're
use it.
not
There's
gonna
a
use it.
difference. Like I'm not ignorant. I'm just old and
Set
a
in your ways.
curmudgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, side quests are definitely fun. That's how most of our I don't know where I was going with that. I love the side quests because I have a lot of fun whenever I just go do random shit. That's what I
Well,
was trying to
and
say.
there was a time that you and I would have side quests.
Hmm.
Whether it be on a boat and
My favorite one was whenever we were at the beach and we were getting ready to go home, and our side quest took us in the opposite direction to Navarre.
to a concert.
Yeah, what was it?
It was some sort of summer jam. It was a country artist, and
What is his name though? I can't think of it. The Yee Yee guy.
no, it wasn't
Yeah.
Earl Dibbles Jr. It
Yes.
was not him. I'm with just about 100% certainty I can say it was not him.
I'm 900% sure it was him.
Well,
Because we
so
went to the place right there at the base of the bridge,
yeah,
and
it
we jumped.
was.
We snuck in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
Juanes.
didn't have tickets for us. Um, it was sold out show, so we stood on the outside of a just some sort of barricade that was in the water, and we watched the show. And then there was an opening that I decided that I should probably stand in. Um, so I did. I just popped over the rail and went in, and I couldn't find Travis. Well, he was plotting his entrance into the stage, and so he was looking for a way that both of us could get in. And you didn't see that I was already in
No,
there.
I thought you were right behind me, and I'm looking for a place to get in, and I look, and you're not behind me, and then I look, and I'm like looking through the crowd, and you're like, hey, like, I know it happened with more time than I thought, but I felt like you were right behind me, and I looked, and you were inside. Like it felt like it was magic, but I'm sure that had to do with the Coors Lights.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, yeah. Those that's back before we had all the stuff we have now
All the stuff
that we
we
have to
have
worry
now.
about.
Yep. Yep. But I wouldn't trade where we are at life for anything, and at the same time, I wouldn't trade those times that we had
Oh yeah,
back then.
those were some fun times. God, that's 7 years ago.
Yeah.
No,
6 years.
6 years ago.
Yep.
I really want to look that up though, because I'm pretty sure
Well,
it was him.
there's on social media there is a picture of you and I
Mm-hmm.
outside of the.
I know that I just wish I could figure out where to look in my camera roll.
I would
Because this
say
is the picture right there, isn't it?
that's the picture. What's the date on that?
March 26th of 2018.
So we'd known each other a year and a week.
Here we go.
Here's your hand sign. Left hand, make it wide. Right hand, make it E.
I don't think it. Well, as we both sit here with
We'll have to look it up. We're gonna figure out.
Granger Smith.
Yes.
That's who we saw. We
Isn't
didn't
that
s-
the same person?
Yeah, that's well.
You jackass.
Well, now that we've seen that, we saw Granger. We didn't see Earl Dibbles.
Okay. Well, there you go. So we're both right technically. But yeah, so that was a fun trip because that was we were literally coming home from the beach, weren't we?
Well, that's back before. Well, gas prices weren't what they are now. We had a little bit more disposable income than.
Yeah, you had one less wife and one less kid. I had one less wife and two less kids.
Yeah. And we weren't living on the water where we
True.
are now.
True.
And I just bought that boat, and we decided that we needed to check
I
it
was still
for.
living in the camper.
Yeah, yeah. And so we had gone from the yacht club
Mm-hmm.
to the beach to eat at Hooters, and then we decided to go to Fort McRae to go see who all was out there. And then when we were leaving, we decided, I don't know that I'm done
Mm-hmm.
yet. And we heard about the concert. We heard it on the radio. So we left Fort McRae and rode to Navarre, attended a concert, and then left and came back to the yacht club at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that was a blast that day. We should not have been functioning, but we were.
It's a different time.
Yeah.
Different time.
Less responsibilities.
Less responsibilities.
Less sense.
Less sense, way less sense. And but it makes for these stories that we get to tell.
Mm-hmm. And we get to tell the world about it.
Tell the world about them. Yeah, this will probably bring up some questions at some point.
Mm. I don't have any answers, so they can ask all the questions they want. I don't have any answers. Oh, so the boat. You got rid of that boat. Now you have a different one.
Got a different one.
I keep forgetting about it because it hasn't been on the dock. You've kept it in storage over winter.
Well,
Glad that you've kept it.
It's brand new.
Yeah.
It's well, I say brand new. It's a 23 model.
It's brand new.
It's
compared
brand
to
new.
every other boat you've ever had.
Well, and yeah, and it's we like it. We're still not done adding things to it, but that will come.
Landon says he's going to get another lift out there on the.
That's what he told me or asked me last night.
Yeah, he mentioned it to me. I was like, great. I was like, I've been wanting to put my boat out there.
Well, the beauty of your boat and his boat is
Might be long enough.
No, you could almost do double.
Oh, yeah.
Like a jet ski, and they could both go on there. The only downfall is when you put the boat in the water, you have to tie one or the other one up.
Yeah. Well, I had to look into that. I'll pitch in with him if he.
And then jostle two boats to get it.
It'd be all right.
What's the beam on your boat? 5 feet?
No, it's a little bit wider than that, I think.
Well, we've got a 12-foot opening, and beam.
We can make that work.
Yeah, the beam on that boat is like 66 inches, so 5.5 feet.
Yeah, we can make that work.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm about to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
It beats me building a whole new dock just to store my boat.
Well, we're going to get to that point.
Eventually.
Eventually.
If I quit having kids, maybe.
Well, there is we can help with that. We know what causes that.
The stork, right?
The stork.
Exactly. So
yeah,
we can get both of us can have a shotgun. We can start shooting storks as they fly by.
You know what they say. If a stork brings a baby, you know what bird never brings a baby?
A dead bird?
A swallow.
I did know that. I forgot. That is.
That may or may not make it in the podcast.
I'm sure it will. It probably shouldn't.
Or it'll be clipped, and that'll be a promo at some point.
I have a hard time, like, I think about that kind of stuff because, like, I think that shit's hilarious and I want to put it out there, but then I kind of go back and forth with, like, should I keep this way more professional than dirty jokes and stuff? Like, but I think people just want to get to know who I am anyway. Like, if they're watching this, they obviously want to know something about it.
My thought on it is the more real you can be, it's the more relatable. And, somebody saying, hey, that guy that builds these lane sharks, he'd be a fun guy to bring up to the deer camp.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be a fun guy to go fishing with or go to dinner with because, he's just like us.
Right.
I think that speaks volumes for how the brand is portrayed that, I can't speak for any other implement or attachment company, but I don't know that they have the face on a podcast like you do, where the actual owner, president, designer, fabricator, builder is doing this type of stuff and just, hey, these things are hand built in the USA by real people.
Currently hand built.
Fixing
to be robot built.
Well,
at least robot welded.
But it gives I think there's a sense of connection there.
Yeah, and I've seen a few videos here recently where people are falling out of favor, falling out of love with, like, following brands, and, like, they want to follow, like, the people. And so that does make sense, like, because they do want that connection with the person, like, because you think about, like, these big corporations, again, you're just a number, like, they don't care, like, you never know who the CEO is, like, you don't know what they do.
Well, and the CEO may or may not know anything about the product that he's promoting or selling, from the top down. What I know about, the people here, and I think I know everybody, is everybody knows a bunch of stuff about, Lane Shark. It's not a bunch of dots and dashes,
I've noticed here lately there's a lot of basically private equity companies are buying up.
Hmm.
Like they bought up. I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a big attachment company that we recently had some stuff to do with that got bought up by a private equity company, and so it's the person that's running it. I guarantee you has never built an attachment, never ran a welder, probably never ran a
Yeah, I
tractor.
was going to say probably has no idea what the attachment does or is
Right.
capable of.
So you definitely don't have any sort of connection with those type of people. So like, yeah, I mean, I guess I guess that's a long way of saying we should probably keep the joke in.
Well, yeah, I'm all for it. For whatever my vote counts, I'm all for it.
Well, I will take your vote and
There
we
we
will
go.
definitely count it.
There we go.
Brandon, what's your vote?
I vote for it.
Yeah. See, perfect. We're in.
So yeah, your vote will definitely count, considering you used to be the owner of Laneshark Worldwide headquarters.
Yeah.
So
The well, and then we tied it into the family a little bit more because once you outgrew the spare bedroom for the office, that's when you went to the shopping center
Yep.
that my grandfather owned.
Yep. And then your mom and sister worked right next door to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our first real office. I remember leased that, and it was like basically two sides, and we had all the sales stuff in one side, and then mine and Kyler's office in one side, or as part of that, and the other side was just open. And I'm like, this is perfect. I'll have so much room for storage and just whatever I need. And then that's when I came up with the valve kits that I started making in the switch box there.
Switch boxes.
Yeah. And then that's when Dad officially came to work for Laneshark.
Dad and Jake.
Yep, Dad and Jake. It's so funny, that dog. He cracks me up. Like, every time somebody shows up, he goes running at him, and they're like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
That big.
Well,
he's
he's intimidating.
very.
Very intimidating, but
He scares me sometimes. Like I'll play with him, and he's just a big teddy bear, but like he's very loud, and sometimes I don't know if he's gonna kill me or lick me to death.
I think that he could if he wanted to.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think it's in him.
Mm-mm. Now the other day I was in a hurry to get something. I ran past him, and I guess he didn't know what was going on, and so he just started barking and running with me, and I thought he was coming after me, and that.
Well, you probably scared him and woke him up. He
Yeah.
was probably having a nap.
In a slumber. But yeah, so that was the shopping center was definitely our where we grew a lot. And that's when we started, like I say, doing the hydraulic kits and doing the switch boxes, which is basically what Landon was hired to do whenever he came on, doing all the switch boxes and hydraulic kits. And now I've almost graduated him out of that completely. Once we start the manufacturing, he'll probably be completely out of that, and Jackson will take over. I'm hoping Jackson stays and takes over all of the hydraulic stuff in the boxes. He does a really good job. He shows up, works, no drama.
Yeah,
just
good kid.
gets his stuff done. And is he 17 yet?
17. Yeah. So he'll graduate this year. This one of Landon's closest friends. So he's been around for a while.
Yeah, I like how so whenever he first started working here, he was driving an F-250, which he still drives it from time to time, but now he has a smart car.
Or a Harley.
Yeah, and then he started showing up in a Harley. It's like the widest array of things. You could almost park the Harley in the smart car and the smart car in the back of the F-250.
Correct. Yeah.
I really would like to put the smart car in the back of his truck one day.
Useless knowledge. A smart car has the same wheelbase and track as a golf cart, so
it
is
fit.
possible to fit. Yeah.
Yeah. Useless knowledge. Yeah, you definitely have that. I always call you the Rain Man. I wish everybody could experience all the useless knowledge that you have, because it is very entertaining.
Well, the podcast is only an hour long.
I know there's not enough time on. I don't even think there's enough time on YouTube for all of that.
Probably not.
That's so used to whenever. That's one of my favorite things. Whenever basically I was essentially living at your house, just not sleeping there. Basically every afternoon we would go eat dinner in his house and watch Wheel of Fortune.
Reigning champ.
It's
uh,
it's
undisputed.
ridiculous.
Just
So one of my favorite things, there's a lady, she has a TikTok account, and she lives with her mom. Like her mom's terminally ill.
yeah,
You've seen it.
yes,
So her brother lives in a time zone that's ahead of hers, and so Wheel of Fortune comes on like an hour ahead, and so he sends her all of the answers, and she'll be watching. It'll do one letter, and she'll say it, and the mom is just like just blown away. Like you can tell, it's one of the funniest things. I love seeing her face, but it's like you can tell. She's just like you're. She doesn't even know what to say. Like, but it blows me. But Daniel's almost like that. He needs about 2 letters and then he gets it. And I'm just like, I don't. I'm not good with. I'm not good with words like that.
for whatever reason, growing up with watching that show and enjoying it, and the challenge and the thrill. My dad's way better than I am.
Really.
Yeah, and because we would always do Jeopardy and then Wheel of Fortune, and he he's very good on Jeopardy, um, and really good at Wheel of Fortune, and so it was just kind of a part of my life, just
Yeah.
watching that thing and kind of figuring out, okay, it's a thing, and then you can get some clues by the direction the show's going.
They have a theme.
The
generally.
theme, yeah, and then so that kind of chokes down the list of available possibilities, and then it's just a matter of
Yeah. See, I used to watch it a lot with my granny and papa when I was younger, but I never really I never really got hooked into it or like started to learn. I just like enjoyed watching it.
I love the competitive aspect of it,
Yeah.
and the I was never a big sports guy. Playing, I enjoy watching football, but never playing sports. So I always used. I like to say I was a mathlete.
Mathlete.
Mathlete, yeah,
The musician mathlete.
musician mathlete.
Yeah. And so you play drum? No.
Bass
No.
guitar is
I don't know
mainly
why
what
I
I
said
play now.
drums. So but you play for church
Hmm.
still?
Yep, yep, and that's kind of did music the majority of my life. Piano lessons when I was younger. Um,
Does Landon play anymore?
no,
He was playing what, the trumpet?
he did piano for a little bit and then trumpet. Yeah, he
Trumpet, yeah.
he marched. And then I marched all the way through high school and could have gone to college. Sometimes I sit back and go, maybe I should have, if nothing else, just for the experience
Yeah.
of what a college could have offered. But I wanted to go to work.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Like when my very first job that I had out of high school, I built electrical control panels for like sewage lift stations and red lights. Like we built but whenever they switched over to I forget what it is, but anyway, at the beach, the toll booth, we built
Yeah,
the control panels for the toll booth before they switched over to what they have now. And they offered to send me to Auburn to go to electrical engineering school. And I thought about it, but I just knew that I couldn't sit at a desk and work. Like I have to be moving. Like
sure.
I'm sure you can see. Like if you put this on fast forward, you see me fit, which you fidget
Well,
too. But
I'm a
like
fidgeter.
I just can't sit still behind a desk for that long. Like, but it would have been, it would have been, it would have been an experience to go to college. But I
Sure.
don't know if good, bad, or indifferent. But
Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know what it is. It could have, opened up different possibilities. But I'm a firm believer of what we've done in the past has got us to where we are now,
exactly.
and I don't know that.
And neither of us have college debt.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's correct. But I don't know that that I'd want to change much about you know what I have going on now. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Well, so I think about that a lot. Like I don't have any regrets, and I don't want to change anything. But I also wonder, like I think people, and I don't want to mean to generalize people, but I think if you have a lot of regrets, it's because you're not happy where
Sure.
you are now. Because if you're happy, then all of the things that have happened made you who you are, and they've gotten you where you are. So, I no, I don't have any regrets.
Yeah, and
I mean, there are definitely people that I have probably mistreated along the way. I wish I had done that differently. But as far as like done like all overall, no, I'm good.
yeah, that's kind of where I am. I couldn't imagine, not having Landon.
Yeah,
Right.
thanks for having him, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, not having Dax, my youngest, who will be 3 this weekend.
Hmm.
Um,
Are we
you know,
doing anything for his birthday?
no, he doesn't. No,
No, easy enough.
yeah, we're having a grandparents over.
Oh, okay.
It's but it's we talked about this. If I invite, my sister and who I love, then it's like, well, I need to invite my brothers, my 2 brothers, which I love. Uh, but
Then it just
one,
cascades, and you
yeah,
just have
and
to.
one brother comes with a wife and 5 kids. One comes with a wife and 2 kids. And then if we do my side, then we go to Whitney's side, and then all of a sudden
Yeah, it just gets
it's
too
just
much.
sensory overload.
Yeah.
So until he gets a little older and can appreciate maybe a skating party or go to Fast Daddy's and ride go karts, and he can.
Oh, that's gonna be fun when we can take them.
Well, we actually went
Oh, really?
2 weeks ago, Landon or Dax and I. Yeah.
So they, how big do they have to be?
He can't drive by himself,
Right.
but he can ride, and he had a blast. And I tell you, I don't know if that's a plug for Fast Daddy's Fun Center here in Pensacola. Brandon Carlson, his dad. Um, they've got the
Brandon
neatest.
actually has a lane shark too.
Yeah, they've got the neatest attraction there, right outside the go kart track. They've got 3 small. They're electric over hydraulic, but they're made to look like excavators.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them has a grapple on it, and it's got a box full of logs that you can
I had
stack
no
logs.
idea.
The next one's full of gravel, and it's got a small bucket. So, and it's left to right, boom out, boom in. You can dip and scoop.
Shit.
And then the next one's got crane. It's a crane that you can pick balls and stuff up. So, and it's, they've got safeties and limits and stops on them. But, you can put Dax, who's almost 3, and, he's just like your boys, loves tractors, loves equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that he can get in, he fits in, he can play with it and make it do stuff. So,
Yeah, I had no idea. I had to take
yeah,
them.
well, until 2 weeks ago, um, Jimmy and Jimmy took his son Bryce, who's just a little older than our boys. And then I had Dax while Whitney was out of town, and
Mm-hmm.
we went down and we made a couple laps on the go kart track. He had a blast with that, and then the did the tractors,
Yeah.
and it was.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to take them. I just didn't realize that. One, I didn't realize they had that, but 2, I didn't think that they were big enough. So
Yeah, they can
because
ride.
I remember that time that me, you, and Landon went
Yep.
a few years back, that was a blast.
Yep.
So we'll have to go check that out. But yeah, Brandon. So yeah, Brandon has Lane Shark. I went to high school with him. But yeah, that's awesome. So it's I didn't realize they had that expansion though. Like I knew they had an expansion, but I didn't realize they had all that.
Yeah,
extra
they've
stuff.
added mini golf, putt putt.
Okay.
They've got batting cages now. Um, I have learned a lesson. We went on a Saturday, and it's great for Brandon and his and all the people involved in it.
It's
It
too
was
many people.
packed.
Yeah.
So Whitney and we talked, and I was like, if we're gonna do this, let's a random Tuesday afternoon,
Yeah.
at 2 o'clock when we can go, we can ride. It's not sensory overload because you walk into the arcade and it was a lot,
Yeah.
a lot.
Well, I'll definitely have to go on a weekday.
Yeah, doing
'cause
a weekday.
I'm not a big shutting down a little early.
Yeah,
I guess.
Landon's tired going
Yeah.
home.
I guess he's done for the day. He's been putting those fixtures together, and it's I mean it's 150 individual little pieces that they have to click in. I mean it's like an erector set, and he's been working on it all day. And then I finally had a break from helping my dad, and I went over there and I'm looking at it, and all of the pieces are just everywhere. So I just went around and like put them like 1, 2, like so they're in order so you can find them, and so we were able to get it done a lot quicker. But he he was cracking me up how meticulous he was being on it, because you have to, like, there's no instructions, there's just a picture. So we have a CAD file, and so you have to go on the CAD file and like move it around and see what number it is, and then go find the number, then put it into place. Like, this is not working. So tomorrow we'll do it a little differently, but it's Dad will have to start welding that one so we can actually put the other ones together. So anyway, is there anything that you would like to talk about that we have not discussed? Or any random questions that you would like to be asked that you've never been asked?
Well, that would be on you. I don't know what question you're going
I
to
don't know.
ask.
It's a question that Brandon put on our first podcast, and like, it's something like, there's just sometimes, like, like, if you want to talk about something but you don't want to bring it up, I don't know.
I think the way our friendship works is normally we talk, several times throughout the day about and it can be
Anything and everything.
anything and everything, and it can be short and to the point, and all right, got to go by.
Right.
Or we can discuss uh, are are we smart or not smart or stupid by trying to figure out what Cat Williams is doing on the latest podcast that he's on.
I've reserved myself to the fact that I'm just not smart enough to understand what he's saying, because he's making connections that I see no connection in, and I'm just like, you know what? He's done a lot more reading than I have.
Yeah,
I mean, you can tell he is an intelligent person, but some of the stuff he's saying, I'm just like, I don't get it.
I believe that he is very intelligent.
Yeah, but that was one of my favorite phone calls. Just like, so yesterday you call, you're like, I can't tell if I'm stupid or I'm too smart to understand what he's talking about. Like, I'm right there with you, because I know exactly what you were talking about.
You could get 75% through a thought and be like, okay, I know where this is going, and all of a sudden he would just hook a U-turn.
Yeah.
And be like, wow. I just like you said, I don't know what the correlation is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there is, maybe there's not. It's I am listening to it. I'm not quite done with it, and I don't know if it's going to pique my interest in trying to research some of the stuff he says, or if I'm just going to give up and give up on podcasts.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that he was talking about, like, I've definitely heard of and I've looked into, but like you said, when he's making, like, he'll be talking about something and then hook a U-turn and try to make a connection between this and that, and it's just, I don't get it. Like, a rock hit the backside of the moon 35 million years ago, and then that's why the sky is blue.
Yeah,
and that's why we believe in mathematics. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
Because it was all planned.
Yeah, and okay.
And the way he would answer a question without answering a question, like if Joe was saying, so you're saying this is what you believe, and he's like, I'm not saying that, but that's what the books say, and he would just leave it kind of open ended, like you don't know what he actually thought, what he actually believed.
Right. I still, yeah, exactly. I still don't know what he thinks, and that's what I've been trying.
Well,
to...
and I don't know if that's his way of saying you're never going to pinpoint me, or pigeonhole me into something,
which fits his character.
It does,
Yeah.
and you're right. I think there is a brilliant mind in there. Yeah, I believe there are certain topics I'd love to sit and discuss with him. Maybe could we try to get him on a podcast?
Yeah, dude, I would love to meet Cat Williams. I've always loved his comedy.
Oh, he's hilarious and intelligent, and has some great ideas and philosophies, and I'd love to sit and just listen to him on certain topics,
but be able to, like, get him to answer some questions, like, definitively.
Definitively, yeah. Because instead of saying, well, that's what I read in a book, and we were poor, I wasn't allowed to have a TV, so I read. I checked out 20 books every other day from the library.
That's I have a hard time believing it, but I also don't.
Well, and who are we to say, hey, that's spot on or it's
Mhm.
not? I mean, we weren't there during that time,
Right.
and really, what does it affect
Nothing.
you and I?
Nothing.
It's and getting into a life lesson. I have learned here recently that if it has no direct effect on me, I have a lot of opinions about a lot of different things.
Mhm.
I've learned to not be nowhere near as vocal as I used to think I had to be
Right.
because it doesn't affect me
Or you can't affect it.
or I can't affect it. But more so, it doesn't affect me, and I'm not going to waste my energy
Mm.
or my time or jump up and down and beat a dead horse while somebody try to make somebody believe the way I believe.
Mhm. Well, I think it's a good way to wrap it up.
I think so.
Again, thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
That's
being my friend for all these years.
absolutely.
I never really would have thought we'd be friends before we were friends. As
Well,
odd as that may sound to
as
people out there.
and we'll leave that for
Another
the studio
podcast.
audience
Yeah.
to decide what we're talking about. Wait, so I've got till March the 19th. I don't know when this will air, but
Next week, probably.
next week. So we'll uh probably need to give you a 7-year anniversary gift. Maybe I'll get you another beeper or something to get on your truck.
You're gonna have to be a little more crafty than that this time.
Well,
I know your tricks.
you know my tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come up with
We
something.
put some zip ties on Logan's drive shaft a few months back. That was a fun one.
It, did he figure out what it was?
Yeah, it took him a little bit. Like you could see him on the camera, like when he pulls out and moves, like you can hear it, like ding, ding, ding. And but yeah, it took him about 10 minutes or so. But yeah, he figured it out.
Did he get out from underneath the car laughing, or just kind of shaking his head?
I don't think he was laughing. I mean, he laughed it off. I think after it was over, but he didn't find it as funny as I did.
Well, that's the beauty of practical jokes.
Yeah.
They will later. It's kind of a slow burn.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you did, if you got any suggestions or complaints, if you got complaints, I don't want to hear them, but any suggestions, feel free to let us know. And if you want to come on, feel free to shoot us a message, give us a call, and we can talk about tractors. We can talk about aliens. We can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. It's whatever the people want to hear, I guess. But again, thank you for coming on, Daniel.
Absolutely, I
And
enjoyed it.
we'll
Absolutely.
see you this evening.
Absolutely, yeah. Here in just a bit.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
See ya.